Before starting, I just want to say that this segment is definitely something that is still being developed. Still trying to figure out the best ways of recording all of us talking while still having the videos playing in the background and audio. I'm sure there's a very easy way of doing this, but this is what I could put together for right now. So look forward to better videos coming forward and more organized videos. Thanks. Hello, and welcome to Spectral Search's post-investigation discussion. In this segment, we will be joined by the team that performed the investigation to go over the evidence that was found, speculate about its authenticity, and decide if we feel the location was haunted or up for speculation. Today, we're joined by PapaFrank and Eric to discuss our stay at the Beck House.
And then there he is.
Hey.
There he is.
Hi.
Perfect. Okay, perfect.
So I put together like a little video of just the kind of the key stuff that I saw. I know from some of the messages that you had said previously, Frankie, that there's other stuff that you have seen, but you just might not see it in my videos.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to be like, what the heck, man? I know that you don't have a whole lot ready for yourself either, but I just thought I'd let you know that you might have some stuff that I haven't gotten to that I didn't see myself. So I'll just share my screen.
Okay. Wait a minute. Is this a fucking PowerPoint?
Basically I made it into a video so it'd be easier to do.
Oh my
Okay.
All right. Okay, here we go, guys. It's a
Synergy.
God. Whoa.
Whoa.
Damn.
Coolest logo ever. So basically the first things I wanted to go through here were like, there's a few things I thought look really cool, but fundamentally we didn't find anything with them, and they made a lot of sense to have there, but it didn't amount to anything. I think I kind of went down just how we did our investigation from start to finish there. So, we had the thumping in the ceiling or the hallway, the cutlery drawer, Eric, the living room.
That was entirely me. That was only half me.
The living room, which kind of came in two parts. And there was like the red room, the green room, the living room again, nighttime, and then kind of like general feelings of uneasiness that a lot of people talk about. And then finally, I got like just some final thoughts kind of at the end of that.
All right. Yeah.
So, some empty findings. We had the cool security cameras and all that, but they didn't work out.
No.
Which, like, it's kind of unfortunate because it could have been kind of cool, especially some of the times where like Eric was like, there's that one video where Eric says like, oh, it says there's someone in the living room right now, right? And we just never saw them, right? We couldn't see that. And then some of the like just the long-term footages would have been interesting to see, especially the one where it was the kitchen. We could have potentially seen what was going on in the kitchen, but it is what it is, right? How do I change this view here?
Yeah,
there you go. Now I can see me too. Okay.
I was actually really excited about the security cameras, but I was really sad they didn't turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with the thermal cameras.
Yeah.
Thermal camera looks so cool, but there was nothing really to look at.
Yeah.
And then I also tried doing the AI speech enhancement on EVPs, and that amounted to just absolute nonsense. Like just like I do. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was a waste of time. So I did kind of go through. I obviously have no security cameras to show because we didn't have the footage of it. I kind of went through though and just like looked at the thermal cameras.
Right.
Yeah, and it all makes kind of sense.
Yeah.
Like, those were like lights and various other things.
Like you say, your hand's cold. It is the hottest part.
It's weird.
Smoking hot dress.
Yeah.
Is Frankie holding something?
What?
What is that?
That's the dress that was in the corner.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, those tripped me out for a minute. I was like, what the fuck?
So
What?
I think, in my opinion, as far as the dress goes, I know me and Eric talked about it, and I think that you heard us talking about it too. If you point the thermal camera at a mirror, you show up in it, and I don't know how that works. I
Yeah,
don't
that's,
know enough theory behind it, so I kind of wonder if the dress was reflective enough because it was kind of a sheen material, right? If it was
Oh,
reflecting that, also the camera calibrates itself, and the wall behind it was colder because it's a colder facing wall, which you had your thermometer and you checked it and you said the wall was 21, the dress was
yeah.
24, and the rooms are typically 24. So I think that it was
Hmm.
nothing. As far as your hand feeling cold, like that's just you. Like that's how you perceive what's going on. We can't confirm or deny that. So that really just comes down to your own feeling.
could be a placebo effect.
Yeah, it could be placebo effect, or maybe it's
That's very,
something
very true.
not detectable on a thermal camera. Hard to say. Hard to say. So that was the first thing that I had on that. I don't know. What about you, Frankie? Did you have any thoughts on like? There's a few times that your hands felt cold, or at one
Yeah,
point you said your back felt cold.
yeah. There were certain points where I've told something to touch me, and then there was like, I'd feel like a very cold feeling in my hand, like right after I said that, and but also like after I was just like, wait, it could have been me, like, resting my hands on my stomach or whatever, and then kind of just like it being like really warm, and then me doing this
Hmm.
to like open air could be like, okay, maybe it's that I'm feeling, and maybe I'm just overthinking shit. But like,
Like,
I
uh,
never considered that.
yeah, that's
you
very
but
good.
like, or like maybe, or
Especially if
maybe,
your hand was sweaty, like you would feel it extra because your hand's wet.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point too. I
but
didn't like.
also like maybe they did genuinely like touch my hand. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of hard to say. But
it's very hard to say because you don't have any empirical evidence, but so much of
so,
this is without an empirical evidence. So
exactly.
I don't know what you're supposed to feel when something cold happens. I don't think I've ever seen a ghost hunting video where they're like, your temperature dropped, like
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
usually it's
know.
just someone being like, I felt something touch my neck. You're like, okay, cool. So that was
Yeah.
that. And yeah. The thumping in the ceiling of the hallway.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
this
this one
one
was interesting
this one was interesting.
because this was all night long too, like on and off.
Yeah, I heard it in the morning or in the middle of the night too.
Yeah,
You heard it in the middle of the night?
Yeah,
we heard it well up until like 11 or so.
yeah,
I didn't hear a thing. Maybe maybe it's because I was like I was kind of like focused on just being calm and like stuff, and maybe like the thumping noises I thought maybe were like, maybe it was like Josh in the other room, like adjusting
yeah.
or something, or like whatever.
Yeah,
Like, I was in high anxiety mode that night because of like, the
yeah,
fact that the
Yeah.
place is
you
haunted.
kind of freaked out a little
Bro, a little bit's an understatement.
It's
bit.
kind of
Uh,
the problem I have with our video is that you don't get the full extent of the thumping. You know what I mean? Like you don't really hear it that well. You can kind of hear it, but
yeah.
it was a lot louder in person. I
You're
think you
posting
get more
you're
of the
posting this
vibration.
online, right, Josh?
Yeah,
Yeah, like I guess for all the viewers watching this, like they were definitive stomps. Like it sounded like there was an apartment above our head and people
yeah.
stomping on like the roof. But we were on the top floor. There might have been a small attic above us, but I strongly doubt there would have been anyone up there.
No. And like, when we talked
Yeah.
to Brenda, there's like that wasn't the sound of animals running around.
No, it definitely sounded like boots or something. Like
Yeah.
like the only thing I could have, even at the time, the only thing I could make of it was that like it would have been someone in like an apartment adjacent to us, and just the way the noise echoes, it sounded like it was above us when it's really to the side of us.
I think when I was listening to the thumb switch, you can hear like in the video itself a bit better,
Yeah,
like probably not through speakers. It sounds to me like someone walking upstairs. Like if you walk upstairs, that's not how you walk around normally. It's not like thump, 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 thump. Like you
Yeah.
step differently up a stair than you do walking around an apartment, unless someone is intentionally thumping. So if we do have some sort of ghost upstairs, what's with the thumping, dude? Like just walk normal.
Yeah.
So maybe it could have been a sound coming from somewhere else, though. Also, again, like Brenda did say that
That's what I mean, right?
people have heard footsteps upstairs, though. Part of me wonders, though, like if people are consistently hearing these noises, is it because people are consistently hearing something above them, or are they consistently hearing the echoes the same way? You know,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like, so again, like I don't. It did sound, especially in the living room, like it was above us.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing
Yeah.
above us.
Yeah. I think that is the one piece of evidence that like kind of made me really think like, okay, maybe there is something in this house.
Yeah, not
Like,
Eric opening the drawers.
okay, well,
I didn't open it every time, to be fair. I think Frankie left it open the first time. That
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
all.
We'll get
bro,
to that one. We'll get to that one.
okay,
All right.
here it is.
Cutlery drawer.
Speak of the devil. Okay, I didn't do that though. I closed everything.
The first time wasn't me. Frankie, you're like
I'm not.
you're spacey, man, sometimes. Like
Well,
I
yeah, I'm not gonna deny that, but I swear that was not me.
like I don't know about you, but I could easily leave a room and accidentally leave a drawer open.
Maybe I did, but I don't remember leaving it open.
I also
But I'll
think if
grant
you
this,
watch,
after the first time, I was fucking around with Frankie. That was
Oh,
all me.
yeah, yeah, obviously, you. I think in my one video, like, I just you see you leave the room, and then I go in. I'm like, what the heck, man?
okay, Eric, question. The shoe thing, was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, you fucker. You
Yeah,
fucker.
I have an interesting thought on that coming up, though. Actually, the other thing I was gonna say though is also in all the videos, the first thing Eric does is go through every drawer.
Yeah.
So if we got there and we went to the kitchen, it's quite possible that you went through all the drawers.
Um,
I don't know if you did, but it seems to track on all the other videos you going through everything.
that's very possible.
Eric's so fucking nosy.
You know,
Just goes through the person's house. Fucking
I also love when
we
you found the
rented this place.
newspaper,
We have
like,
full access.
yeah,
fair enough.
when you found the video from or the newspaper from 1989, it was like, this is weird. Like,
Yeah.
why did we keep this one newspaper? But yeah, definitely interesting. It makes for a fun what is Eric doing moment in all the videos.
Oh
I don't know.
fuck.
I'm always kind of like, if place is haunted, I feel like there should be something interesting around to find. In my personal opinion, I think this place was done up to look creepier than it is,
Oh yeah, and she
to
said that.
attract people like us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I mean, they had like creepy dolls laying around. Like, what is that?
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I know that she did say that she had like she worked it up to make it creepier, right? Like she was saying she did advertise it as a haunted house
Yeah.
prior to believing it.
Yeah.
And then when we were leaving, I ran into her husband. He was like, she's trying to get older stuff in there now. But he's like, it's
Yeah.
hard for her to find old stuff. So it's like it's definitely made up
And it's
to be
expensive too.
yeah,
You know,
expensive.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like the older it is, the more like collectible it kind of becomes,
And better quality.
yeah, and at that point, like, do you want to like fix it up? And this like do you really want to spend the money to like fix it up and then put it in the place where people can use it again to like, I don't know. To me, it just seems redundant to like do that too.
It
Yeah.
was kind of interesting. Like, this is slightly off topic, but not really. But when we first got to the place and we
Yeah.
walked into the room, I guess rooms, it was creepy. Like I
Mhm.
was like, oh man, this place feels creepy and like a
Yeah.
little wonky. By the time the next morning came around, I'm like, yeah, I could live here.
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt so much more comfortable after the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like coming back to Toronto, I was just like, you know what, I could go back.
Oh yeah, I would definitely go
I could
back
go
again,
back.
actually,
Yeah, I could
especially
go
with
back.
some of the EMF stuff that we'll get to in a minute
Oh,
or two.
dude.
But
Yeah.
like,
It was interesting.
it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see reproducibility of those things. All
I think
right.
the age of the room left a lot of interesting things around too to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Especially that weird window to nothing.
Yeah, I know that was bizarre.
Coolest part of the whole place. All right. This is the first time we did the living room. I didn't bother putting the audio into this because we do this for a very long time. This is like 30
Yes.
minutes or something like that of us talking on the spirit box, the EMF, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
we kind of just blah, blah, keep going on and on about this. um, that's me asking for a fruit roll up. So the one thing I did do is I went through all the times that I thought there was something. So I'm gonna share some of those moments with you. Some of them I'm like, this is pretty good, sounds pretty good. Other ones, obviously, I was like, this is completely unintelligible. Like it's just like, and we are like, whoa, what was that? But yeah. So can you hear this now?
Yeah. Mr. Beck.
Okay, ready?
Mr. Beck, was that you that just said something on the ghost box?
I heard
Sounds
that.
like a yes, right?
I heard that. Yeah.
It does. It does.
It does. It sounds like a yes. 146.
Nice
This one,
timestamps, by the way.
Mr. Beck is complimenting my German speaking.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. That's what I heard too. Or it's good.
I didn't catch that very well, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's very clear. 2 minutes in, apparently 7 is what Frankie says he hears.
That's your cargo. Can you give you a number?
7.
I don't hear 7 in that.
I have to listen for the word 7, and even then it's like
Yeah.
I did turn it up.
Like an kind of like noise, but like to me, I'm gonna be honest, the spirit box came off a lot like we were just catching random one-off words from random radio stations here and there, and like a lot of it's very unintelligible.
There's only one spot that I was very like, that was creepy, is when we're in the red room. I think that for me, I feel like when you don't have like multiple syllables, like the it's good is kind of there. The yes, it's just one word, what we're going through. Like, I mean, based on the question, it makes sense that to be the response, but
even on a radio station, like people would say yes constantly.
yeah, and I
Like,
think that it it doesn't necessarily have to be saying yes. Like anything that ends in S, I would be like, oh, that's a yes.
I
You
think
know?
what I'm gonna do next time is try to put the money into like what's it called, a portal, basically,
The
which
one that takes out the background, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be good because it is so hard to
because
tell.
yeah, because at this point, like, I mean, like we are getting some results, but like it could be better.
Yeah,
like that's something I'll say. Like there was definitely constant like individual words coming out of the spirit box, like all night, like when we were messing around with it. But like I wasn't convinced like that it wasn't just gibberish from like a random radio station, like one-off words that were unintelligible for the bulk of it.
I mean, like even this one is like I counted an like
Yeah, it was like
as like literally any word that has an
Yeah.
A in it.
Yeah.
I think a little bit, so that was 324. We'll go back a little bit.
I'll turn it down a bit. Sorry.
As I understand it, there are people with cats.
It does sound a little bit like a little bit.
yeah.
Go back a bit and do
I
that.
definitely heard something there.
I'll turn it down a bit. Sorry.
As I understand it, there are people with cats. A little bit.
And then
But
you
it
hear right
almost, like-
afterwards, we're like little bit.
It almost replies so quickly, like it's like you're halfway through your sentence and they're saying little bit.
Yeah. And then I think in the moment we took it as us saying we need to turn it down a little bit, and then it's like a little bit because the spirit box is really loud in the moment.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I agree with that.
This one I thought was funny at 5:58 because it sounds like it says Pyorski, which is a meat pie. And I was like, it had nothing to do with what we're doing, but it is very like that sounds like he's saying that word. I guess you can find it. Yorski. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but I was like, we probably just like happened to go past.
To be
like, I don't know.
fair, we were talking
100%
about like meat, like favorite foods, favorite drinks.
I think that one was like a Russian dish or something like that. I mean, maybe this guy really likes Russian meat pies, but
Maybe.
know
I
if I'm
thought that
in
was
the
pretty
afterlife,
funny.
if I'm dead and I'm in the afterlife, that's what I'm yelling at. I'm just gonna yell at hamburger at people.
Yorski.
Broski.
All right, I'll close that for now.
Looking at
I got to figure out a
right
better way
now.
of doing this next time. This was the other thing. So I looked at the EMF in detail. So I took down every single time that light went off.
That's thorough.
I was being real thorough.
Yeah.
So the one thing I would say is this is the first time that we looked at Mr. Beck. So Charles's conversation here. Yeah, it goes for a long time.
Dude, this is impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing I noticed that there were 79 times that went off unprompted by us. It was just going off by itself. It is frequently interrupting you while you're talking, Frankie. It doesn't give us any misinformation, but basically the number of times it goes off when we're not talking to it was 92% of the time.
Wow.
So it is really frequently not aligning with us.
Yeah.
I broke down when the small peaks happened, and it kind of isolated individual areas and compared the small peaks, large peaks, and so on.
Yeah, I remember at the time it was coming off like it was semi-responsive. Like I'll say that, like during the night when we were doing it, like, you know, I'm not a believer type and I'm just having like I'm having fun and whatnot, but like it was fairly responsive.
And there were strong responses
See,
too.
like the data worked out and like that it really was like just our perception of it at the time, like that it wasn't nearly as responsive as it came off in the moment.
The second one, so if you remember, it was kind of like it stopped for a bit and then we went to pack up and it started again. So I kind of went through again, went through all of them. It was only 5 minutes this time. Again, there was 62 times it was unprompted. The percent of the time it was unprompted was 75% of the time. It was going off without us talking to it. It kept interrupting Frankie 3% of the time in that moment. But I looked at these little peaks again, and I kind of noticed there's like a kind of pattern to it. Same with this one's like a and this one like a and when you compare that to here, you see some of the similar patterns. So I don't know. Admittedly, I didn't go through the time stamping to see if the scale is the same. Maybe I'm just looking for patterns that aren't there. Maybe I'm reaching for something here. But it almost seems like we're maybe picking up something that was periodic more so than actually getting like, it's obviously like we're getting really big peaks, but they almost seem repetitive in their natures. So like, you got the,
interesting.
I would
and
agree
then I think to me, with it being the number of unprompted responses and then seeing these patterns, I don't think that this would convince me that we were talking to something. That being said, as we've also talked, there's also supposed to be a lot of activity and spirits in that place. So, as you said in the moment, who knows what's walking past, what's doing what. Like maybe some of this is actual communication mixed in with just ghosts wandering around in the background.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But yeah, I did go extensive on this one.
Dude, I gotta say, that's cool. That's cool with all the charts and stuff.
Oh, we were getting a ton of activity.
Hold on.
I think doing this was actually
Honey, come here.
helpful.
Oh, you want to see this?
Honey, this is sick. Look what Josh did. Very thorough. Hold on. A very thorough like PowerPoint. So he took points of the EMF readings and he look at this. There's math. There's
my glasses.
I know, right? There's like times he's the EMF has interrupted me during a question asking, the percentage of responses, fucking all the right? Isn't that fucking cool? Like that's fucking awesome.
Where were you a year ago when I needed to do like budgeting and shit?
Well, I couldn't budget. Have you seen my apartment?
Have you seen my apartment?
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
But no,
cool.
it's cool, eh? Just like Yeah, it's dope.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I got kind of excited. I thought you were gonna show me a cool ghost.
Oh
no.
I'm gonna lie.
No.
Like, this is very impressive. I like this.
Yeah.
My OCD is just like, but,
Yeah.
but I'd really like to see a ghost too.
Yeah.
No.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's no. I wanted to. I mean, I'll let you know when we do find really cool ghostly things. I mean, that's what I normally do. Like when I'm editing and I see something like fucking like, oh shit, cool. So look at this, and then she'll she'll come in and see it.
Yeah, I was all excited with that. It's like sending to random people, like, look at these cool things I did. Everyone's like, okay. Like,
fuck them. They don't. That's
like,
cool shit.
You're spending your time staring at a little light going on and off. I'm like, yeah.
Dude, that's some fucking Egon shit from Ghostbusters, you know? Like, I love that. That's sick.
In the moment, it was pretty cool. Like, I don't know, it came off a lot more responsive. But
Yeah.
I think the fact that you did the hard work and you crunched the numbers really, it really puts everything into perspective. And I think it was like props to you for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot of, that's a commitment. I love that.
All right, the red room. This had to be the cutest room by far. I was just cuddled up on a couch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a couple good EVP moments and spirit box moments in this. So I'll get to those right after this cute little moment of us cuddling up on the couch together. This one's good. That you would like to say before we leave this room, before we leave this room. It sounds like Frankie. It's pretty quiet. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
No.
No, let me try that again. Hold on. Turn up my headphones a bit.
I know Eric even says it immediately after. He's like, "It said your name." Before we leave this room, before we leave this room.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I heard it too.
And my favorite part is it almost sounds like your last name following it too.
Shut up! I didn't hear that. Get out of here.
It sounds like Frankie has a, and I was like, "What?"
Do it again.
Yeah. This room, before we leave this room. Or it could be Frankie has a.
No, I heard that time. That actually does sound a lot like it.
It sounds like your name, man.
Yeah, I heard it too.
You're saying it so casually, just like, yeah, and Frankie has it.
So yeah, I also got a couple of things. The first one might be hard to hear.
Was this on your EVP?
This is,
or was this Spirit Box?
This is my EVP.
Interesting.
Because I was recording your Spirit Box, right? So that's 236. And it's interesting because we say, you know, knock once for yes, two for no, and then you hear like a, and then you immediately hear me complain with the TV behind us. So it's like right before I start talking.
Yeah.
It's a lot of TV going. Oh, that was a bad timing. I didn't go back far enough. Speak directly. You can knock on things. So maybe we'll just do one knock for yes, two knocks for no, or you can talk and we'll try to listen to it later to see what you said. So is there anyone here? It's a lot of TV going on though. That's so hard to hear on here.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's nothing. It's just anything that's happening in the room.
I think it's weight distribution on the wood floors.
Yeah, it could be that. Could be the people behind us.
Oh, sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it could be that. Could be the people behind us because there's a TV obviously going on in the opposite room behind us.
And the TV was on the living room too.
Not at that point. Was it? I don't think it was on at that point.
I muted it or had it off when
because that would have sucked for all of our EVPs. It was like right off the whole thing. We're like, it's all just TV. And then this one, I think this might be Frankie. But watching the videos, I don't see your mouth move. But it kind of sounds like you. Come an apparition and come and hang out. We just be four. It sounds like Jesus. So you got three ways of answering us for any of these. You can talk. You can use the K2 EMF reader. You can knock. You could become an apparition and come and hang out. We just be four. No, it's like a little whisper. And I think it might be you.
Might be me. Like, yeah, it's probably me.
Jesus. ghost.
Yeah, it was.
But I
just
like
me
to
'cause I'm like, I
imagine
don't-
that there's a ghost.
That
And I'm
doesn't
like, he's about to walk in the room, and I'm like, you just be 4 dudes hanging out. He's like, Jesus. Like, just
I'm like
turns and walks
90.
away.
I'm like 90% confident that was me saying Jesus.
Yeah. But all the videos, I can't see your mouth moving. I watched because I got the 2 different perspectives. I'm like, it doesn't look like you're moving. But
You
yeah,
know, watch Josh. Watch Jesus. Jesus.
yeah, you're right. It
Jesus.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought it was funny at least. You know,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to picture the ghosts.
I'm impressed by your ventriloquism, so you know.
Yeah,
thank you.
it's quite. So yeah, I just put these little breaks in between so that we could discuss them. But we're
Yep.
already doing that anyway. So the green room, again, there's Eric just going through all the doors.
This is
And I'm
our-
like, I just want to fit in, so I start doing it too. Because I'm
Oh yeah, there's some
You
nice
know,
things.
oh,
I know you
Whoa.
guys think it's weird, but it's like what I don't know.
No, it's not weird. Part of
No,
the
it makes
investigation.
sense.
You should
Yeah.
explore,
It
you know.
makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah. So I do think though, despite the fact that this room is said to potentially have a portal in it now, and they said there's the most activity in the room, I don't think there's anything in that room that I thought was worthy of. Like, I listened to the EVPs, I listened to the spirit box. There's times we're joking about calling the Baxter, and I think there's some responses, but I didn't think that the responses were worthy of really any documentation of it. There's a lot of
Typical
like
Baxter.
unintelligible. Like, I'm just like listening, I'm like, it sounds like a voice, but it doesn't sound like it's saying anything that I can make out. And I like, you know, as Eric was saying, because he does the walk away and listens on the spirit box with the headphones.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
sounds
hear
like
that.
radio. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But what do you think, Frank? Because I know that you did send some recordings earlier, I think. Of us referring to him as the Baxter.
Baxter. I don't know, man. Like I really think that there wasn't really anything in any of the rooms except for the living room.
I think I would agree with you. I don't think that anything
You
really
know,
happened except for in the living room.
Yeah.
See,
I think
I didn't think there was anything like the place didn't feel haunted to me at all. But I will say there was a creepy vibe in there. Like there was like a feeling like you were being watched. I'll say that, but like that could just as easily be like
can I just say that's the first time I've
100-year-old
ever heard you say
room,
anything like
you're
that?
it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
There's something going on right now here. Also, fun story. While I was editing this, a light bulb died behind me.
Maybe that's the ghost.
I was like, what? And it turned around, the power like got turned off to like half the apartment. It was really weird.
It's the Baxter.
The Baxter came and he's like, don't call me that. Yeah.
I think the Baxter.
I think that we
what's with the loyalty stance for the Baxter?
He needs loyalty.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
living room number 2 with Amelia. So obviously this one we brought out everything. We tried the thermometer at one point, the thermal camera at one point. We got the green dots. We got the 2 different EMF going. I think this would be the most compelling evidence of anything that we found.
Okay.
When you're all like,
I'm not hearing anything right now.
No, there's no voice. Again, we did this
you muted it.
This
you
was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes for us doing this.
One. Josh over here
this here
has an EMF here as well. And
oh yeah, this was interesting.
Come over here. I'll move it closer so maybe it can be easier. Oh, it blinked.
It does when you touch it sometimes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb like that.
Can you make that? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Thank you so much, Amelia. Thank you so much for making yourself known. We really appreciate the things you do.
So I did this again. Conversation with Amelia.
Josh going full Egon.
So again, when we looked at this, it was a lot better than the other one.
Yeah, much better.
We only got 72 unprompted responses and also ones that we completely disregarded, where it was going off and we were just kind of like, oh, okay. And we didn't say anything about it.
Right.
There are 4 times that the information was wrong that it gave. So at one point you asked if he liked driving the car. Amelia died before he bought the car.
Ooh.
And we took it as like, yes, she liked driving in the car. Maybe she liked ghost driving in the car. Maybe. And then the shoe thing. Because Eric, who has now confessed, did the shoe thing. And according to Amelia on our K2, it was me that did the shoe thing, and I
Oh
did
yeah, I
not.
remember that. That was funny.
So 60% of the time you were getting unprompted responses, and 3% of the time it was giving false information. So I think that we had was a good confirmation bias on that one. I think that in the moment it looked really good. Like it looked really believable, the responses that you were getting. It looked like I was quite impressed. But when I sat down and started looking at it and like the number of times it went like a little bit, I think the really impressive ones were what like the really big spikes right after you talked. I was like, this is really impressive. But I think that when we like step back and like look at the amount of time that we ignored it, the amount of time it went off without you asking anything, the amount of time it said the wrong thing. Additionally, though, Brenda did say that they're the brats. So maybe he was just trying to throw me under the bus for Eric's deed. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, just causing shit for shits and giggles.
Yeah. And again, like we were saying before, like maybe there's background stuff going off because there's so many ghosts walking around in there. But
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say, I thought it was really cool that you asked her to move over, and the one stopped activating,
yeah,
and
and then the other one did.
the other did, and
So
it was
to
pretty
oh
bizarre. Like I don't know, that was crazy.
yeah, to me, like that was the most convincing thing that we had. But when I stepped
I
back and
don't
looked at the entire night, one light went off one time. And I'm like, that's it. So again, I'm not saying that it's not haunted, but now my entire like the most compelling thing that I saw was the fact that it went off one time. And I was like, it
Yeah,
would be interesting to go back and try to reproduce some of those results and see if you can have it happen more frequently.
yeah. I think in the grand scheme of things, like it was a good moment, but it was way too inconsistent.
Yeah, that's what I think. But a lot of those, like when you're watching it, a lot of the big spikes going on when Frankie's talking to it, you're like, these look really convincing
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
potentially accurate. Potentially accurate. I'm not disregarding it.
I
It just hasn't. It isn't anything that I would call up the newspaper and say, "I got a ghost, guys."
yeah.
So at this point, you were saying it's hard to say.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
so I'm saying that I'm not going to come out. I've got a little last thoughts kind of thing at the end of this. I'm not going to come out and ever say like everyone else is wrong. This place isn't haunted.
Mhm.
Like just because I didn't see anything, just because these to me don't look like a compelling argument doesn't mean it's not compelling for someone else. Nighttime.
That's
Shit.
it was really
It scared me for a minute in your face.
Yeah, it scares me too.
middle of the night, but that was it. Frankie heard some voices at 5:30ish.
Yeah.
They
Heard
couldn't make
woman's
out what I
voice.
was
Remember
saying.
that?
Yeah. So again, like I was saying, I heard thumps in the middle of the night. Like the same thumps that we heard in the living room. It kind of came from the closet kind of area. I feel like I could kind of hear the closet jiggling a bit, but it's the same consistent thumps. So I don't know if that's someone above us or someone walking down the stairwell. Maybe there's a support beam that goes up the middle. Middle of the
Yeah,
night, kind of weird. We also had 3 stories of people.
the thumping I actually, in a lot of ways, I felt was the most compelling thing that
Yeah,
we experienced because I mean, we all agree it sounded like it was above us, but
it sounded very
Sure.
above us.
the only thing above us was the attic, and the only thing I think any of us can really think of to explain it is really just like sound bouncing, but it's a weird way for sound to bounce. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Also for me, like again with the sound bouncing thing, when I heard the woman's voice at what was it like 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, but you were
It
also freaked out and could have been hearing things like because you were pretty spooked up. Like you were shook.
I was, but
Like your naked body was grabbing me pretty hard.
well, that's because you're irresistible, Eric.
Yeah, but also because you were shook.
I'm shook that you're so irresistible.
Everyone is.
No, but like I think it's Samantha going no, but honestly though, I think I don't know, like it's I don't really have like auditory hallucinations, like, but like, it's also it actually sounded like a voice from like the living room. The living room, like dining room area. Like it's like I remember just laying there and it sounded like someone was just right outside our door.
I guess I didn't hear
And like so I'm like like I feel like auditory hallucinations would be like more like here or like in your head, where like this was like it was coming from like just right
The
outside our door.
distance.
Yeah. So it was so like I don't know. Like
I don't know. I can't tell you you're wrong on that, like by any means, obviously.
yeah, no, no,
I
no,
was
no,
probably
no.
half asleep, so
And
I
I
mean,
was probably asleep. It was probably me talking in my sleep, and I was like, "Oh, Frankie."
that was it. No. But no, that was no, it sounded like an actual woman's voice in like the living room, dining room area. So it's just like I don't know, like it's like maybe it was some sort of weird sound projection from one of the other people from the other rooms, maybe. But again, like with what you said, Eric, it's just like that's pretty far fetched, though, right? Like,
to me, I personally think sleep deprivation and fear.
No, okay, I'm not talking about that, but you could be right. But
That's
like,
what I personally do, but
no,
I'm like obviously not you. I'm not going to tell you what you did and did not hear. So.
sure, but I'm talking about what you said about like the sound,
Oh,
like
bouncing through.
yeah, bouncing through
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
See, the hard thing for me is my room. You could
Mm.
hear the TV behind me so well that like if I heard anything, I would have been like TV. Like
I'm pretty sure there were
That's
girls
fair.
in the other room because I think I heard the
yeah,
whole voice.
Like
there was
that
two
could have
girls
been
in
the
the room next to
case.
us.
Yeah,
Now,
5:30 is pretty early.
it is very early.
that's what I mean. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like like so like if again like this is another like footstep thing, like like it's I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say because I heard it come from the living room or
Mhm.
the dining room, but also like yeah, there were other female renters,
You
so
know
but
what's a good thing to think about
it's
too?
hard to say.
Is our room had a hallway and behind us a whole other room that backed onto our room as well that was attached to other parts of the house.
Yeah, you had the weird window room.
Yeah, where
Yeah,
like
but again, the sound was
other
coming from
sounds could have
the
been
dining
easily.
room.
What's up?
Yeah, but again, like the woman's voice was coming from the dining room.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how easy would it have been like to have like someone either a floor below us or even like in one of the side hallways there? And I mean, it's already kind of attached to our room, and the doorways are right beside each other.
I guess this one's left unexplained because, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
I think to me it's very like, there's a lot of things it could have been,
Yeah.
and we can just kind of group in like it also could have been something. Like
Yeah.
because we don't have any way of checking it. We don't have any way of seeing if it's
Yeah.
reproducible.
Yeah.
We don't have any way of like we can't hear what you heard. I was asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can't put down what you're saying and be like, no, Frank, you didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Can't exactly call up the girls over in the room next to us and be like, were you guys awake
Yeah.
at 5:30? So
Yeah,
I
on
think,
this
yeah,
specific day.
Yeah.
I
And
think it's
also,
not so much about disproving that it was
Yeah.
something as much as just being like, it could have been a lot of other things. It's
Yeah.
kind of up for speculation.
Yeah, I agree. And also, we can't really go up to the attic and check for people walking up there or anything.
Yeah.
So, it's the same thing, so it's just like, I don't know, put a pin in it.
I think
guess.
checking the stairs, if we ever go back, just see if someone thumping up the stairs sounds like that.
Oh,
That would have been a good thing to check, but
should have checked that. That would
Yeah,
have been
that's a
so
good
hard.
idea.
that's a long drive to walk up some stairs.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay, I think there's only one more thing that I really had. General feelings of
Okay, so I will
uneasiness.
say that I'm a little bit spooked. Not a lot, but I could have sworn I just heard something behind me in this room. But I think it's just this. It is quite creaky around here.
This is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Like, you just rewind for a second a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
it
this
is
is that
quite.
boss.
Want to go back further?
No, you're perfect where you are. Like this is
Thanks,
like a
man.
prime example of what I'm talking about. This place was set up to be
Very
creepy.
creepy
Like,
here.
look at that dress.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that that looks like a headless person standing in the corner of your room. What is that?
The creepiest thing by a landslide for me was the sleeping bag beside the chair that we brought with
Yeah.
Frankie's coat over top of it. Because
Oh,
in when I was going to sleep, it looked like a little kid just like with his head on the table. And I
yeah.
was like, man,
How to
if
move
that thing,
that?
I'm like, that's gonna run at me. Like I just kept staring at it. I'm like, it's gonna be a little kid just turns and books it at me. And then yeah, I was like, I need to move this. I even took a
Yeah.
picture of it. I don't know if I still have it. And I was just like, this is
Dude,
creepy.
dude,
Let
I
me see if I
remember
have
that
it
moment. I
actually.
was
Because I
so.
moved it. You guys are like, what?
Let's see.
Oh
I
no,
know. I remember you moving it and just being like, "Well, Josh got creeped out."
yeah.
Dude,
Do I have it still? I don't think I do.
Dude, I was so on edge with that fucking shit.
Oh yeah, Josh or Frankie, all night you were fucking sitting there being like,
Dude,
"I'm
I
gonna
know.
die." Oh my god.
It's true. I
Oh,
actually
I don't think I
was.
kept the. I don't think I kept it. Oh wait. Well, this isn't it, but this will work.
But like I remember like seeing like Josh like walking out and I'm like, is it the lady? Oh wait, it's Josh.
Because
Yeah.
the long
This
hair.
right here. Look at this. Doesn't that look like
It
legs?
kind of does.
And
a
then
little
like this
bit,
would be the
yeah.
butt, and then this is like
Kinda,
up to the
yeah.
shoulders, and then like on this angle that kind of looks like the head over here. And I was
Then you
like,
gotta keep in mind too, this is during like when it's brighter out too, right? Like in the room.
no, this
So
was
you
like
get some
at night I
shadows
took it.
going and it's
Yeah,
darker and it fills with the form better.
and we spent an entire night ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So I think as far as the uneasiness goes, though, I remember when I first got there, I sat in the chair and I was like, I'm not one this like I feel weird, and I was like, man, I feel pretty weird right here. And then
Yeah.
Eric throughout the night, not Eric, sorry, Frankie throughout the night said that he was feeling, spooked here or there.
Well, I'm this anxious person
Yeah.
in general, so like I
And
think
then I
that's
think that Eric said a couple times is a creepy place. Like you said earlier
It's a
today,
creepy
you walking
place.
in, it is creepy. So I think there is a general sense of uneasiness that a lot of people would
yeah.
qualify as being like paranormal stuff will make you feel uneasy.
That being said, by the morning,
Yeah,
I felt great.
I was ready to move in.
I almost feel like the longer ready to move in. The longer we spent there, like once we'd settled in and been there for a little bit, like it wasn't nearly as creepy once we'd like been there for a little while and got comfortable with the place.
Yeah. I also think though, because I don't think this would be applicable for all of us, but there is obviously we like straight up documented EMFs going through. Like whether it's paranormal, was it artificial, natural, like there are electromagnetic fields going through that place.
Oh
And
yeah.
to some people, like high electromagnetic fields, especially ones that are setting off those really big spikes,
Hmm.
they can make people feel uneasy. So if people are just feeling uneasy and you've got this thing that's known to cause uneasiness and like dizziness and stuff like that going through, like we sort of documented like, yes, this is happening. Like
Yeah.
so not necessarily for all three of us. I think that'd be pretty weird for all of us to be experiencing that. I mean, it's possible. I don't know how relevant it is to people, like to what extent, but maybe it
Mhm.
explains some other people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
My last thoughts. So yeah, basically, I think
Sorry, just how you said it. My last,
My last
thoughts.
I think basically though, in my opinion, I don't think that we captured anything that would make me a believer of
Yeah.
ghosts or any sort of haunting.
Yeah.
I think that the thumping was interesting. We could have done more to troubleshoot it. The EMF, I think when you really look at it, there's so many unprompted responses. It could be that there's a bunch of ghosts going through. It could be that we're just detecting something completely different. The most compelling thing to me was when we said, "Can you go over here?" And then that one went off.
The EMF
That
stuff,
was, yeah, the EMF, the K2 went off.
Yeah, between
But
that
again,
the footsteps, I think those were the two things that were the most like, what is that?
yeah. And again, to me, it's like, so that one light went off that one time. That was my most convincing argument. It would have been good to continually test it or something. Um,
Yeah, if it
At the
was
same time, you don't want to be asking someone like, "Can you get a phone? Go over here? Can you go back now? Can you go back now?" Like, if I were a ghost, I'd be pissed. Like, they're like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not going to do that." So it's hard to reproduce it. I do think though, like walking down the stairs to leave, the sheer number of names on that board, like the three boards as we were leaving, were all people that had stayed there, and a lot of them are saying they have experiences. Like Brenda's saying that she's had experiences. Frankie with like feeling cold, hearing things. So I'm not saying that there's not something there. I'm just saying that as far as it goes for me, I didn't have any experiences that were definitively a haunting. That's
yeah,
just my opinion.
I would get behind that. That's kind of how I feel too. Like there was some like stuff that was like, what is that? A little bit, but like it was nothing that like I felt like I couldn't have experienced somewhere else that wouldn't have been anything. Like yeah, it could have been something, but it could have just as easily been like anything else too. It was like
Also, I think you. I mean, again, this is a personal experience thing, but I think we forgot to mention the smell of cigars.
Oh yes, I did forget to mention that in this.
Mm.
I did include it in my video, but yeah, there is the smell of cigars, which yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
Um,
no one was smoking there.
I don't remember
no,
smelling that personally, but
you
it
didn't smell it. Me and
okay.
Frankie both were like something kind of smells weird in this corner, and it did smell like an unsmoked cigar.
Yeah,
To be fair, I have
Um,
a bad sense of smell, so like yeah.
yeah.
yeah. But
So
I think it
like,
also wasn't like a really prominent unsmoked cigar.
no,
It
it
wasn't
wasn't.
like,
It wasn't prominent,
yeah,
which to me makes it like, there wasn't a cigar at all
yeah,
in the room. So it's just like, how did this smell come about? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. And the fact that Josh smelt it too, kind of like, okay, confirms it,
To
I
me, I'm
do
just like
wonder.
someone downstairs like below us could be smoking. I mean, like
which is
it's a
okay.
very
Yeah,
old place.
I think
yeah,
it's also to me, it was like you said you smelled cigar, then I sat down and I was like, oh, I smell cigar. But I wonder if you didn't say you smelled cigar, if you said you smelled something, if I would have sat down and been like, oh yeah, there's something. Like I wonder if like it was in my head from you smelling cigar. From my memory of it, it smelled like an unsmoked cigar.
yeah.
Um, but again, it's not something that I can like, which some people will say is the problem with my approach on this is that it's not something tangible that I could document. It's really just an experience, and I think that that's
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
kind of the big last thought I have is that so many people have these experiences that we can't just disregard it.
That's what I
I would
mean.
also point out we were moving stuff around the room, we're touching stuff. You know, if something smelled like cigars already and we're moving it around a bunch, getting it into the
Uh,
air, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean maybe that too. I think it's
maybe.
more just again stuff that's up for speculation without having a
Yeah, I agree
definitive.
with that.
It's not, it's just personal experiences are really hard to take into account when you're like trying to like prove something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's weird. It's basically the end of it is like, yeah, it's weird. But
Yeah,
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 I'm not convinced that we detected any ghosts.
yeah, I mean for the record, like cards on the table, for me to walk away from one of these experiences being like, I saw a ghost, I'm gonna need some see some apparition or something like that. Like I'm gonna need like drawers, fucking forks flying across the room at
I thought
me.
you were just gonna say drawers opening. I was be like, come
you
on,
want
man.
like you want
I,
that scene from like
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters from
Yeah.
the
The
that's what
library
librarian.
I'm
scene.
gonna need to see some stuff where I'm like, that shit was either movie magic or fucking like ghosts.
I
So I'm
don't
hard
know.
to convince to be like I'm just saying like yeah, like I'm doubting Thomas over here. Like I'm gonna be harder to convince and like that the I'm
Fair
gonna put
enough.
cards on the table. So
Here's the thing for me, I'm a bit of a believer.
A little bit.
So I think that I mean, I feel like some of the evidence we took could definitely be like not wasn't a ghost. But I do feel that maybe some of it is probable, leaning towards more the paranormal on my perspective. Uh but like for me there's always like like I'm leaning more towards paranormal, but also there's also a side of me that's just like could not be something paranormal though. Like, you know, so I'm like, I feel like I'm on the edge, but not necessarily one side or the other.
Yeah.
Because I'm open, because like if it does get debunked, I'm like, okay, we know that it's not that, but you know, otherwise, I think it's because for me, like again, the compelling things were like the EMF workings, and the spirit box. I feel like was like when we had the conversation with the Baxter in the first on the first half of the spirit box, you know, we did have that conversation with Brenda, and she did, and I asked her like, hey, is Mr. Beck like, is he kind of like a soft spoken man? Because and she's like, yeah, absolutely he is. Like, you know, we've had, you know, so I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, okay. So for me, like, because she's been, you know, this is her place, so obviously she's gonna be experiencing shit. I wouldn't say on the daily, but you know, she's probably used to it by now.
Mhm.
But like, so like, I don't know. For me, like her being like Brenda being evidence as well.
Yeah.
However, maybe she could be saying it just to like, because we're customers. And maybe she's saying that just to like, you know, we want to make sure your money's well spent. But I don't know, you know, like it's hard for me to fully say that because we don't know her that well. We just interviewed her for the video, right?
Yeah,
So
like as far as Brenda goes, like I would say like it's in her best interest to have us believe that the place is haunted and leave
yeah,
that
absolutely.
way. But she did seem very genuine, and
absolutely, 100%.
like she seemed very genuine when she's talking to us, and I would believe her. Like her words came off very genuine. So
I agree.
Yeah, I think that like I was saying before, just the sheer number of people that say they have seen something there, and those are all like things that we can't deny. We can't be like, no, you didn't. We weren't there.
True.
And same with her, right? Like I don't think that she was trying to trick us into thinking there's something there.
No.
And even when we were leaving, and I think when we were interviewing her too, she also said they had like really small amounts of activity that were going on. And then when we were leaving, her husband was like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys had some results the EMF readings because nothing happened last weekend." So
yeah,
I mean, maybe nothing happened this weekend too. Like they weren't like, it wasn't like them really, you know, trying to convince me that what we had was real. It was just like, oh yeah, cool, good, glad you got something. So yeah, I think it is hard to deny the other people without being in the environment with them to test.
Yeah,
you know, to see what they are hearing, to test those things out. I've watched some of those videos, and you're like, that's definitely nothing. And then some you're like, that's interesting, but I'm not there to know. So that's kind of where I stand on it. Is kind of like, I don't think we got anything like that is compelling to me. We had someone be like, maybe nothing really happened this weekend, nothing happened last weekend, and we have people that are like, oh man, we've had a lot of experiences. I don't know. Maybe it's haunted. All right, so I mean that's really all that I got for this video. I know that Frankie still got some stuff to go through for his.
Yeah, I still got some editing to do,
like editing and all that. So
not really.
If you have anything else to bring up, I'd be intrigued to see what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, thank you guys for doing this kind of last minute ish.
No, it's just fine. Thank you.
I'm going away now.
Excited for the next one.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
After our discussion as a team, it's hard to make a specific conclusion about the Beck House. There are many experiences that could have been paranormal, or they could have been explained as normal. We each had our own takeaway from the stay at the Beck House, which keeps our results up for speculation. While I personally didn't find our results to be definitively paranormal, there have been many others that have stayed before us that have found their results to be definite. If you ever get the chance, it's absolutely a place to stay and to partake in your own spectral searches.